we're doing the finale of the week of Geef today. So I'm gonna be playing some more Geef for the last time, question mark. And then afterwards I'm gonna do kind of a wrap up. I'm gonna address like lots of points that I brought up at the beginning, like do I think Geef is truly a terrible character? What do I think his strengths are? What are his weaknesses? What could they do to improve him in the balance patch? Things like that, like a kind of summary of what I've learned from the Geef experience. But we'll play some games first. Nice. Level 1 is the side switch. Probably into neutral jump. No? It's funny, like, I was expecting, like, Guile to be one of Geef's worst matchups, but having now played it a few times, like, it doesn't feel as bad as I was expecting. Maybe it's because Stand Fierce gets through a lot of Guile's stuff. Like I said, I've only been playing this character for 2 days, so don't quote me on matchups, but this doesn't feel anywhere near as bad as I was expecting it to. You can do that. Like, that's a big deal. Got him. Jackhammer. Bonk. Jacked him? I've got to ask you guys to stop phrasing it like that. Please stop saying things like, congrats on jacking him off. Addicted to jacking. Where is blood going? Oh my god. I should probably level 1 when he does that, right? Hey, nice drive rush. It seems like, from what I've experienced so far, one thing I have noticed is that this game seems to store your 720 buffer for a surprisingly long time. Like, one thing I was testing there was, like, if I do a jab in neutral and just, like, buffer a 720 behind it like that, it seems to store for ages. So you can do like jab into 720, and then like you've got half an hour to just press punch when you see them move. So that looks really cool. But there's a massive buffer here. It stores the motions for 23 frames, and then you have another 20 to press. Yeah, you've got a very long time to do 720s in this game. Forward heavy kick is annoying for Geef. I should probably use that normal more myself. Oh my god. That killed? Jesus Christ. I was not expecting that to kill. Yeah, I'm seeing the matchup from the other side. But that's why it's useful to do these kinds of things, because like I hadn't realized that forward heavy kick is that annoying for Geef because it beats so many options. Now that I know that, I can go party time. Bruh, what is happening? Oh my god. Great minds think alike. It's time to get serious. Shared brain cell. I think what happened there is that I supered a couple frames after him, which is why mine worked and his didn't. Got him. Alright, I am going to call it quits there, I think, on the Geef adventure. I think it's time we do a wrap-up. What did we learn? The good, the bad, and the ugly? So I started this whole Geef adventure, partly because I just wanted to have some fun with an unusual character, one that I hadn't really played before, and the other one was because I wanted to investigate, like, how bad does he actually feel to play? Is he as weak as they say? These kinds of things. Like, the very first thing I want to say in my Geef summary, the very first thing I want to say is that tier lists do not fucking matter for 95% of the, like, player base. Like, I want to get that out of the way first. Even if he is the worst character in the game, which I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying even if he was, tier lists only actually start to affect the outcome of matches at the highest level. So, I'm going to be a bit mean here, but if you're in, like, I don't know, gold rank with Geef and you're struggling, that's not a Geef problem. That's a you problem, okay? I know that sounds mean, but sometimes you need some tough love. Skill issue? Like, I see a lot of people using their character as a way to, like, offset responsibility for their results. So, sorry, but that's not the character. That's you. Tiers only start to really take effect at, like, top level play. So, with that being said, do I think Geef is the worst character in the game? I don't know. Maybe is the answer. He's a strong candidate for it. I could see the case for it. I don't know if he is actually bottom one. But I would say with absolute certainty that he's one of the weaker characters in the game. But I also want to add the caveat that weakest character in the game is not synonymous with bad character. Those two, there's a slight difference there, and it's an important one to point out. So if a character could be the worst in the game and still be amazing. Like, you could be the world's poorest billionaire, but you're still a billionaire, if that makes sense. I think Zangief, relative to the overall strength of the entire roster, is, like, closer to the strong characters than he was in Street Fighter 5. Like, Street Fighter 5 Zangief in the final season was just, like, way down there. Every matchup was a struggle. Like, half the cast just shut him down. He couldn't really do anything against a bunch of characters in the final season of Street Fighter 5. In this game, even if he is the weakest character, he's still a lot more viable, I think, than in final season SF5. When it comes to, like, buffs and what they should do with Zangief going forward, they should break the plan up into, like, two halves, because Zangief needs a lot of changes, I think. But they should make a clear distinction between changes that are designed for, like, quality of life and consistency versus changes that are to actively give him new tools. Because a lot of the frustration of playing this character that I've experienced has not really been so much from a lack of tools, but more just that his tools are so finicky and so inconsistent and so unreliable. Like, you have to make so many adjustments with Zangief and be prepared for things to go wrong all the time. Like, he's one of the most inconsistent characters I've played. There's lots of stuff that I've experienced that really feels like it should have been picked up in testing. Here's an example, right? This is an example of, like, the extra hurdles that Zangief has to go through compared to most other characters. If I whiff punish with Zangief's stand light kick and go into drive rush, I now have to make a lot of very difficult decisions about how to continue the combo, because you can't just autopilot your follow-up, or this will whiff because of the spacing. So, like, I can't do Hell Stab there, so maybe I have to do, like, a double drive rush to make that consistent, and that instantly burns me out. Or maybe I have to just go for, like, jab and then just reset into SPD. There's so many situations like this which other characters don't have to deal with. Like, if you look at the exact reverse of this situation, let me just invert this real quick. So, like, let's say that you're the Luke player and you whiff punish Zangief. Do you think, like, Luke ever has to make any, like, concessions on his whiff punish? You never have to adjust this. You just do your B&B. I think it's underrated as a general, like, character thing how much stability matters. But, like, I found myself with Zangief constantly having to, like, plan ahead every hit of the combo to brace for the possibility that the link won't work, or the lariat will whiff, or any of 10 different, like, failures that were really frustrating. Another one is, it, like, in terms of frustrating things, anti-air, I talked about in the last video. Lariat, even EX Lariat as an anti-air is not consistent. And having anti-airs that don't anti-air is one of the worst feelings in fighting games, I think. When your anti-air loses to a jump in, that is the opposite of fun. So that's just in terms of, like, fixing things. Lots of combo inconsistencies. Another thing that I experienced a lot was level 1 not anti-airing very well. This thing works against neutral jumps and back jumps, but I tried to anti-air forward jumps quite a few times with this thing, and it just never worked. So yeah, so I think Capcom, before they even start to think about giving Zangief buffs, I really think they should focus on massively improving the consistency of his combo routes and his anti-airs. That would go a long way. In terms of active buffs, things that I think would be good for him, I think one thing that I didn't really know about until I started playing Zangief was how bad his meter gain is. Like, I'm used to characters always getting level 3, like, early into round 2. That just seemed like the normal thing to me until I started playing 'Zangief. And now I'm getting rounds where I straight up just do not reach level 3 before the end of a match. I don't know if he's got like some weird reduction in his meter gain or his kit just isn't good for it, but he just never seems to have super when I needed it. So I think one thing that would go a long way for this character is giving him better meter build. Yeah, I think it's because a lot of his combo routes are like light, medium, like something like this. It kind of stunts his meter build. I'm not sure what the exact reason for it is, but I definitely did notice that like I would get to the point where I would assume that I have level 3 stocked, and I look at my super bar and I only just barely have level 2. What else? I feel like he should have something about defense, some kind of defensive option. Or at the very least, they need to make his level 2 a really good reversal. Like the thing with quite a few of the grapplers is that their level 1s aren't very good as reversals. Zangief especially, you literally just can't use this thing as a reversal. But what really sucks is when I saved up my bar to get level 2, knew my opponent was going to go for a meaty, woke up with level 2, and they were just able to block because this thing has 18 frames of startup. Like, maybe this should be a lot faster so that it can be used as a reliable reversal. It should beat, like, meaty jabs, and that will also... That would be a 2-in-1 buff. I think this should beat meaty jabs, and I also think it should combo off lights. Making it faster would be 2-in-1. I don't know about giving him a real reversal level 1. That does seem a little bit scary. But his level 2 should absolutely be a reliable reversal. Crouching heavy punch should be improved too. Yes, that's a good one. I agree with that. And when you say improved, I'm going to assume you mean given some kind of purpose. You know what would be good for this? Really obvious, easy change that would make this normal instantly much better. Just give it a super cancel to level 1. Crouch fierce into level 1. That would be actually pretty useful. But I'm just saying that, like, if you just, in a situation like this, crouch fierce is fast enough that you could just crouch fierce into level 1. And even with perfect parry scaling, that would still do a nice chunk of damage. But yeah, we can give him that. I guess one last thing I want to talk about with Zangief, and this is actually me being positive about the character. One thing I really appreciate having played him for the last week is how well structured and well thought out his Oki after SPDs is in this game. Like, I actually really like what Capcom's done with his post-SPD situation in this game. Because there's been like a perpetual issue with Zangief's design for like the last, I don't know, 10 plus years, where the only way that Capcom can make this character work properly is if he has looping Oki after SPD. And like slot machine 50-50 Oki, it's really boring and badly designed. It's not fun to play against. Like even in SF5, when Zangief was bad, he would just like EX SPD you and then dash up, and then it's just a true 50-50 between heavy SPD and crouch light kick. Just pure casino gameplay on every SPD. And that's just not fun. What I really like here is he still has Oki on his SPD with Drive Rush. So like if I know my opponent is going to wake up holding up because they're scared of the SPD, you can still lock them down. You do have a bunch of options. It's just that the flowchart of like what beats what is now a lot more complicated. You've got a lot more options. You can do like Drive Rush Light, you can do Drive Rush Sweep. You can do forward medium kick, but that won't be up. You can do Drive Rush medium punch. Like, yeah, so if I know what my opponent wants to do on wake up, I can still punish them for doing it. It's just that the situation is a lot more interactive and there's a lot more options to choose from rather than just dash and be +2. So I actually think, even though Capcom like made a lot of mistakes, I think, in Zangief's kit, I actually really like how his SPD Oki is structured, and I actually think it should stay the way it is right now. Anyway, thus ends my week of Zangief. Hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one.